Paul McCartney turns 81. The beloved musician, known for his timeless music and philanthropic endeavors, continues to sell out stadiums on his latest tour and make movie cameos. Celebrate by expanding your trivia knowledge of this living legend. In a surprising revelation, it turns out that Paul McCartney's first name is actually James. However, due to family tradition and to avoid confusion with his father, he has gone by his middle name for most of his life. It's hard to imagine a James McCartney as part of the iconic Beatles lineup. Paul McCartney may have been rejected twice from choir auditions, but that didn't stop him from becoming one of the world's most beloved singers. Check out 22 locations from famous songs that you can actually visit. Paul McCartney faced difficult teenage years after losing his mom at just 14 to breast cancer surgery. John Lennon's shared loss helped the two bond, as he also lost his mother at a young age to a tragic accident. The true inspiration behind Let It Be's line, Mother Mary, has been revealed. It's actually about Paul McCartney's own mother, Mary, who appeared to him in a dream 10 years after her death. Her advice helped inspire one of the most iconic songs in music history. Paul McCartney's first instrument was a trumpet, not a guitar or bass as commonly believed. His father gave him one for his birthday, but McCartney, being into rock and roll, switched to guitar because he wanted to sing while playing. Sign up for free newsletters to learn more fun trivia. Paul found a way to play guitar despite being a lefty by restringing and playing it upside down. Here are 50 famous left-handed people who have changed the world. The McCartney family's piano has a unique history. It came from a music store owned by Brian Epstein's parents, who later became the Beatles' manager and was dubbed the Fifth Beatle. What a coincidence! In 1960, before they were famous, the Beatles performed in Hamburg. They got into trouble after lighting a condom on fire and nailing it to the wall, causing burn marks. The building owner called the police and the band spent the night in jail before being deported from Germany. Paul McCartney snubbed his other Beatles bandmates when he got married to Linda Eastman in 1969. None of his fellow musicians were invited to the small ceremony, even his close friend John Lennon. At the time, the band was fighting over various issues, and their relationships were suffering. This was before their official breakup in 1970. In 1966, Paul McCartney worked on his first solo project, composing the soundtrack for The Family Way, while still in the Beatles. Despite his enthusiasm, he was only minimally involved in the final production, which was done with the George Martin Orchestra. Did you know that one of the most popular songs of all time, Yesterday, began with scrambled eggs? Paul McCartney came up with the melody in a dream, and wrote nonsense lyrics to keep the tune. He eventually replaced the word eggs with something better, and the rest is history. Paul McCartney, former Beatle and philanthropist, once ordered a pizza delivery from New York to London on a Concorde jet. He knows NYC has the best pizza in the world and enjoys the spoils of his work. It's no surprise he's a rich man. Paul McCartney made history in 2005 by becoming the first musician to broadcast live music to outer space. During a concert in Anaheim, he provided a live wake-up call to astronauts on the International Space Station, chatting with them and playing Good Day Sunshine. This feat earned him a Guinness World Record. McCartney wrote more #1 hits than Lennon in the US charts with 33 compared to Lennon's 26. However, in the UK, Lennon has more #1s at 29 compared to McCartney's 28. Despite their unmatched songwriting pair, both created countless hits separately. Want to know more about John Lennon? Check out these 12 famous quotes. A single Christmas song continues to bring in big bucks for one musician. Wonderful Christmastime earns an estimated $400,000 to $600,000 in royalties annually. This means the musician has made at least $16 million since the song's release. Find out which frugal celebrities are making the most of their wealth. During the 9/11 attacks, Paul McCartney found himself on a plane waiting at JFK Airport. He witnessed the terrorist attacks from his window. To help the cause, McCartney organized a benefit concert that raised $77 million in one night to help those in need. His contribution was so significant that he received an honorary detective title from the New York Police Department. Paul McCartney's past isn't as clean as you might think. While on tour with his band Wings, Japanese authorities found half a pound of marijuana in his suitcase at the Tokyo airport. He spent 10 days in jail and faced a 7-year sentence, but was instead deported from Japan. McCartney's band, Wings, was almost called Turpentine until a Scottish fan suggested they go with the name The Dazzlers instead. McCartney decided on Wings instead, and the rest is history. In 1957, Paul McCartney made his first official gig with the Quarrymen, soon to become the Beatles. However, the performance was forgettable, especially McCartney's first solo as his voice kept cracking. John Lennon found it amusing and laughed at him. Paul McCartney influenced the creators of The Simpsons to make Lisa Simpson a vegetarian for the entire show. McCartney is a famous animal rights activist and convinced the show's creators when he guest starred in 1995 with his late wife Linda. Lisa remains vegetarian to this day. Famous musician Paul McCartney had a cameo in Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, as Jack Sparrow's uncle. He replaced Keith Richards, who played the character's father in previous films. Many celebrities have made guest appearances in the franchise. Music legend Paul McCartney is not just a talented musician, he's also an avid painter. His artistic passion was kept secret for years until his first exhibit in 2000, where dozens of his paintings were displayed at the Walker Art Gallery in Liverpool. McCartney and fellow Beatle John Lennon spent time there together, making the exhibition all the more special. Apple Corp., founded by the Beatles, experienced legal disputes with Apple Computer over trademark rights due to their music industry entry. Steve Jobs and Paul McCartney became friends over multiple lawsuits and settlements. Beatles catalog finally made available on iTunes Store. Paul McCartney recently opened up about his business advice to Michael Jackson in the early 80s, which included getting into music publishing. Jackson later bought 251 Beatles songs in 1985 for $47 million, a move that left McCartney upset. He didn't get the rights back to his music until 2017. Find out the cost of beer and hot dogs at every MLB ballpark in the latest Cheapism article. Also, learn how to get cheap concert tickets without Ticketmaster and what the crackdown on Netflix password sharing means for you. Don't miss out on more great content from Cheapism. Follow us now.